Today's program is on trout fishing in North Carolina. There are 3 trout species in North Carolina. All 3 species are considered game fish, require cold water streams, and are found in the western 26 counties of the state. The only native trout to North Carolina, the brook trout, has seen a range reduction of 85% from historic levels. However, North Carolina has more populations of brook trout than anywhere else in the southeast. Therefore, it's a very important fishery in our state, and our agency focuses on sound conservation of this species. Trout also have a cultural importance due to a long history of trout fishing in North Carolina. WRC's Public Mountain Trout Waters program has a huge economic benefit for the state. In 2014, it drew 149,000 anglers, generated millions of dollars in tourism and equipment expenditures, and supported 3,600 jobs for our state. Because the trout fishery is so important, WRC has a big program to support it. I will now turn it over to Jake Rash, our Coldwater Research Coordinator, to tell you about it.
Thank you very much. And to highlight the Commission's trout management efforts, I'm going to walk through our trout management plan that shares program areas and objectives that help us manage trout waters across the western 26 counties, which are roughly 5,300 miles and 2,200 acres of waters within the Commission's Public Mountain Trout Waters program. First program area is trout management, and as North Carolina's only native trout species, the conservation of brook trout is of utmost importance. So a lot of attention is given to the species. And we also want to provide sound regulations to manage our trout resources to ensure that continued successful angling opportunities for generations to come. And the second program area is resource protection and habitat enhancement. Here you see 2 streams that are severely degraded, but we want to make sure that we can help prevent habitat loss and degradation to ensure clean, cold water for our trout species. And we want to improve habitat quality. Here you see the Ararat River, which in 1992 was one of our first delayed harvest trout waters. The waters became so degraded it was removed from our program. However, thanks to restoration efforts, the stream has been brought back into our Public Mountain Trout Waters program and is now one of our more popular delayed harvest trout fisheries. And we also want to work to minimize the spread of aquatic nuisance species, such as gill lice, shown on the top left, and then a fish infected with whirling disease here on the bottom right. Eradication is almost impossible once these species are established, so we want to focus on preventing the spread. And to do that, the Clean, Drain, Dry, Never Move campaign helps guide anglers and provide information to them about cleaning the gear and taking care of their boats or anything that comes in contact with water, and certainly reminding folks to never move fish, plants, or other organisms between waters. Our third program area is research. Our staff conducts a lot of research to help evaluate potential current management activities, and those go from biological samples, like many of you see here, to also the collection of extensive socioeconomic data. And certainly access to trout waters is of utmost importance to the Commission and also to our constituents. So we work consistently with landowners and other management partners to try to secure public access. And we also work to improve access for all anglers, regardless of abilities. And the last program area is education and communication. We want to provide a memorable and successful opportunities to ensure that we're recruiting and retaining anglers. And we strive to increase public awareness of our fisheries resources. Certainly we utilize signage and outreach materials, but ncwildlife.org/trout is a location that all things related to trout can be found. And so now part of the module will answer some of the frequently asked questions from staff. And first regards, well, actually, where do we stock? And here you see depiction of the western half of the state and the counties noted, and those with green and black diamonds are the counties where we actually have stockings. One place where you can find additional information about stockings, again, is our website, ncwildlife.org/trout. And at the top of the page, you can find actual interactive fishing maps, a search module that essentially functions as an interactive Regs Digest. There's information about the stockings themselves, which can be found on the page here towards the bottom. And then we also have the regulatory classifications for folks to view. In terms of the regulatory classifications, there are 7 that govern our public mountain trout waters program, and they vary from gear restrictions to size restrictions, and I encourage folks to visit the trout page to learn more about them. And the key thing to remember is that folks need to be prepared before they head to the water. So understanding the regulations and the boundaries associated with them before you go is the key to any successful fishing experience. License requirements on some other resources within North Carolina, and one of those is the Blue Ridge Parkway. And to fish the Blue Ridge Parkway, an angler needs a valid North Carolina or Virginia fishing license, and you do not need our special trout privilege to fish Blue Ridge Parkway water. Similarly, with the Smoky Mountains National Park, a valid North Carolina or Tennessee license is required, and again, the special trout privilege is needed. And finally, questions arose regarding fishing on North Carolina state parks. And the Commission works with the North Carolina Park Systems to provide public mountain trout waters on many of our western state parks. And where public mountain trout waters are present, you simply need a valid North Carolina license with the trout privilege, as you do everywhere else to fish public mountain trout waters. And that's valid regardless of the park.
Thank you, Jake. For more information on trout fishing in North Carolina, please visit ncwildlife.org/trout or contact Jake at the information shown on the screen.